Despite the mounting negative opinion against Chief Inspector Purisima, Affirmative believes that the spirit of the law sees through biases in order to render a just adjudication. Your Honors, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The question in this debate is not on what Purisima should have done, but rather, is the issuance of the preventive suspension order proper in light of the requisites of the law? This case, Your Honor, stemmed from a 2011 deal between PNP and Warefast Services, which resulted into the preventive suspension order. This was concluded in 2011, way before Purisima was appointed as head of the PNP. In 2013, what Purisima agreed on was for the delivery of licenses through any accredited courier service. The documents does not show the involvement of Warefast whatsoever. But more importantly, in 2014, when he received the complaints that it was inefficient in delivering the licenses, he revoked it, Your Honors, a month before the complaint was filed. Affirmative will argue 2 points. First, a TRO should be issued because due to the peculiar circumstances of this case and in order to avoid probable injustice. Second, a TRO would nevertheless be issued because the Ombudsman committed grave abuse of discretion. On our first point, if the preventive suspension order will be served by Purisima, it will create a vacuum on the PNP leadership. Why? Under the PNP Reorganization Act, in order for you to be appointed as Director General, you must serve for at least 1 year. If Purisima serves the suspension, then all of the current senior ranking officials of the PNP cannot serve because they have less than 1 year before their retirement. Moreover, we cannot continuously appoint an OIC or an officer in charge because they have limited power. This point will be discussed by my second speaker. Hence, the public will be prejudiced if this continues, Your Honor. Therefore, a TRO is proper. Moreover, in any event, the Ombudsman's committed grave abuse of discretion, hence a TRO is still proper. We understand that as a general rule, the acts of the Ombudsman is given high respects by the courts, but except in 2 instances, when its decision is not based on evidence or when the evidence is patently insubstantial. This doctrine, ladies and gentlemen, is resonated in the case of Ombudsman versus Kapulong. In that case, the CA granted a TRO because the Ombudsman failed to establish that the evidence of guilt is strong. A preventive suspension order, Your Honor, is not absolute. It is conditioned, among other things, on when the evidence of guilt is strong. Let's look at the complaint filed by Rica Franca in this case. He alleges that Chief Purisima actually committed a crime against the Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, which states that the accused must have caused injury or that he gave any unwarranted benefit on a person. However, in this case, Purisima did not have any participation. The contract was far concluded back in 2011 and he was only appointed in 2012. More importantly, Your Honors, he revoked it when he received news that it was inefficient. This revocation, Your Honor, is not an act of a co-conspirator. Hence, the complaint has no basis. Moreover, what Purisima signed was to make the license delivery more convenient for the owners. We don't see any ill intention on his part. In the case of... Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know that the courier that was contracted is not accredited to do a courier's function?
Your Honor, what Purisima relied on the certification of Meneses as well as the resolution of the FEO. This was outside of his scope, Your Honor. That's why he was acting in good faith. But moreover...
Okay, time's up, Nathan. Carla, 2 minutes to cross-examine him.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker.
Good evening.
Are you aware that Warefast's president is retired Civilian Security Group Chief Ireno Bacolod?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Are you also aware that Purisima was assigned Chief Directorial Staff of CSG from 2007 to 2008 at the same time that Bacolod was also his former boss at that time? Thank you. Or are you also aware that, would you not consider that there are exceptional circumstances in this case? At the moment when Purisima knew that his former boss was the president of the corporation, which will be one of the contracting parties of the MOA, wouldn't it have prodded Purisima to examine the documents or to examine the supporting documents surrounding the transaction, Mr.
But it was
Speaker?
concluded in 2011.
Yes or no, Mr. Speaker?